Rose, before this video ends,
Mhm.
at some point, I'm going to talk about, because this is about trauma, I am going to mention the person who stalked me. And I know we haven't talked about that, and I haven't put that out there yet. And my family don't know about that. So by the time,
Another revelation.
by the
On
time this,
video this time, not in a book.
it's not in the book, but by the time this airs, I will have told them about the stalker. This, because I've learned from you, don't put stuff out there unless your family knows about it. This way, it's not a shock. And the first time that they're hearing about it will not be on social media. But because I'm talking about trauma and how to move from victimization to victor, and primarily the discussion centers around the childhood abuse, but there's also been other traumas in my life. And I kind of want to mention that. And because I successfully came through the sexual abuse, the trauma of the guy who was stalking me, I mean, it was a big deal because he was later arrested, but it was very easy for me to forgive him and move on because I dealt with something else that was so huge.
Even greater measure.
Yeah, and suffocating. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but so my advice to everyone, of course, tongue in cheek, is, get a friend like Rose, someone who will stick with you. And I'm being a little flippant, but get a good professional who will walk with you through this journey. The journey from trauma, from victim to victor, it can be overwhelming. Rose has mentioned to you about me crying in public, and because they're triggers. There are different things that can trigger you, and you don't know it.
It could be a word, it could be something that you just see, or you overhear someone say something out, it doesn't matter where you are, indoors, outdoors, or anything can trigger it,
Yeah, it could be the sound of the person's voice, because for many years I had that voice in my head, and suddenly you're triggered and you go back to almost being 4 years old, where you don't know how to navigate through this space, through this world anymore. And so Rose mentioned that I reached out to her, and she was able to kind of help me to refocus, redirect my behavior, and to go from being 4 years old to being a competent female who could go through that experience. And a professional will help you, if you've gone through trauma, to be able to navigate those seemingly overwhelming spaces in a very safe way. And that's what people need to hear. Male and female, your professional person will help you navigate so that you can be safe and so that you will be empowered. And so that's the purpose of this conversation today. And Rose, thanks for being here with me. Thanks for talking. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for helping me to remember certain things. And just thanks for always being there.
Oh, you're more than welcome. But can I just finish off by saying that there's an old Chinese proverb that says, fear of the unknown. So you're fearful about what people are going to, whatever it is that's, that's happened to you, whether emotionally or physically, and you're frightened about it. Fear of the unknown. Once you speak, verbalize it and speak to somebody, whether a professional or an understanding friend or family member, once you verbalize it, it's out there. So that fear automatically lifts out of you. Does that make sense? It's like you're wondering what's out across the road behind that building, and you're fearful of approaching it because you don't know. But if you pluck up the courage and say, right, I'm going to see and look behind the building and see what's there, and what's there? There's a car there, empty, nobody around to harm you at all. It's fear of the unknown that actually stops people from going out there and seeking help, because they're fearful of being judged.
Yeah.